So now we move on to the disc sander. Now we've got two of these, just like we have two fret saws and we have two pillar drills. One of the most useful machines in the workshop. This can smooth wood and it can smooth plastic. What it cannot do is smooth metal. Never ever use metal on this machine. It's made up of a card sanding disc. If you put metal into that, it would just shred the disc. This has to be replaced every once in a while after it gets too smooth, but I'll do that. So a really, really useful machine. One of the louder machines, particularly when you put your work up against it. Again, don't be afraid of it. Let it do its work. Do your work safely, follow the rules, and as I've said, very, very useful machine. Follow the same safety rules that you would with any of the machines in this workshop. Make sure you've got your eye protection, whether that's the spectacle goggles or the elasticated ones, whatever is more comfortable for you. Make sure that you've got anything loose, long hair, anything tied out of the way, and make sure that you've got your apron on. Now, a bit like the fret saw, this has a table, and you have to rest your work on the table. Never, ever hold whatever you're sanding, so say, for example, a piece of wood, never try and hold your work against the disc, because what will happen is it will just get pulled down. So your work must be absolutely flat on the table. Whatever you're sanding, make sure that it is flat. Also, you need to hold your work down very, very firmly, and you need to push it into the disc. There is a red line. You will see this red line on both of the disc sanders. Your fingers must never pass that line. If you are sanding something that is smaller and your fingers are going to be over the red line, it's too dangerous to use. Come and see me and I will show you how we can sand it, maybe using hand tools, but your fingers should never be closer than that red line. If they are, you're too close and it's dangerous. Okay. When you are sanding, you must sand to a line. So on here, if you see this piece of wood, hopefully you can see that the side is, or the top is at an angle. And what I've drawn is a straight line that I'm going to sand to. Same goes for if you were maybe sanding a curve. You would draw the curve so that you know when to stop. Don't ever sand something if you don't know where the line finishes, where to stop. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to use this. We've got a green on button and a red off button. Okay, when the green button is turned on, an extractor fan is also turned on. So most of the dust that this machine creates will be taken away and put into an extractor. It's the same with the other disc sander as well. When you turn the sander off, the extractor will turn off as well. Okay, and again, like all of the machines, don't just walk away from it. Make sure that you do actually turn the machine off, which sometimes can be a bit difficult to hear if there are lots of machines on in the workshop. Okay, do make sure that you turn it off. Here we go. And you can see I've sanded to the line there. It might need a little bit of just tidying up with some sandpaper, just to make it nice and neat. But I'm going to sand this curve as well. Now with curves, the trick is to keep your work moving. If you just push your work in straight, you'll get straight, flat edges. If you've got a curve, keep it moving. Okay, so here we go again. And again, this might need tidying up with a little bit of sandpaper. You've got to remember the sandpaper on here is really, really rough. So you won't get a perfect finish on here. Go to the sandpaper box, get some smoother sandpaper and tidy your work up. Okay. Exactly the same process with acrylic. You would draw your curve or whatever line you want to sand off on here. But in this case, instead of a pencil, you would probably use a marker pen, a felt marker pen. And the idea is for this machine to do as little work as possible. Don't expect it to sand enormous, great big amounts of material. What you should be doing is when you cut your material, first of all, cut as close to the line as you can get and then tidy up on the disc sander. Don't cut a long way from the line and then expect this machine to do all of the work for you. That is the way that the disc gets smooth too quickly and needs replacing. So when you're cutting out maybe on the fret saw or maybe using a coping saw, make sure you cut as much material off as you can and then get this one to do the tidying up. Okay, so quick recap: goggles, hair tied back, anything loose, apron on. Your work must be flat on the table, held firmly with both hands. Again, your attention absolutely and totally on the machine. Don't allow yourself to get distracted. Pushing in and no fingers beyond the red lines. If they are, then they are too dangerous and you need to come and see me. Okay? Green for on, red for off. When you've finished, turn the machine off and then you walk away for the next person to use it. Okay? We have two disc sanders. Both of them are connected up to dust extractors. And yeah, just make sure that you use them safely. As always, I will give you a demonstration, but if you want me to be there the first time that you use it, or if you want me to help you to use it, I'd be delighted to. So don't ever